Hello everyone, today we are looking at a game from round 9, the Candidates Tournament in 1985 between Boris Spassky, former world champion with the white pieces, a little past his best years but still having a lot left, and with the black pieces, none other than the popular commentator at the St. Louis Chess Club, Yassar Seirawan, who was rated 2570 at the time. So this was a serious game as it took place in the Candidates Tournament. So Spassky started out with e4, e5 from Seirawan, and f4 from Boris Spassky. So Boris Spassky was one of the last knights of the King's Gambit, and would play it occasionally every now and then. So after e takes f4 from Seirawan, knight f3. This Seirawan plays this line knight e7, which is sort of a sideline. I mean, more common, of course, is like g5, forkbear counter gambit after d5, and of course, transpositional possibilities exist also after d5 here. These are more popular than knight e7. Knight e7 has the idea of not only playing d5, but it avoids future attack from e5, and also plans on bringing the knight to g6. Because you can see the downside of this move is that it slows black's development down somewhat, as the knight is blocking the bishop from coming out on f8. So black has to be careful to manage his position so that the position doesn't wind up becoming detrimental, in that he's so far behind in development that when the position opens up, that he will be able to deal with it, because this is what, after all, what white wants in the King's Gambit. So d4 is played, d5. So the center is attacked here, and this would be a mistake for white, as the position, of course, will remain closed. And these are the type of positions Seirawan likes, as he's a long-time exponent of the Caro-Kann. But this would be right up black's alley, a situation like this, where he could even prepare h6, or at some point prepare c5, and the game takes on the flavor of like an advanced French defense, or even advanced Caro-Kann variation with the bishops coming out at some point on the light squares. So d5, knight c3, rightly played by Spassky. D takes e4, knight takes e4, and now, of course, white wants to play this move in short order. So knight g6 now. Okay, now, of course, black knows he can't hold on to this pawn, but he clears the way for to continue his development here. h4, of course, with the idea of just scooting this knight out of the way, and then he can capture this pawn here. So now queen e7. So now you have this threat against the piece here. Again, the use of this e7 square again blocks this bishop out. Spassky plays a nice move here, just simply king f2. Unfortunately for black, this knight is off limits, because after queen takes e4, just simply bishop b5 check, and at c6, then you can all see just rook e1 winning the queen. Some of you have looked a little deeper into it and said, well, why can't black just move the king to d8? Well, he can, but the same move, rook e1. And then after the queen, let's say, extracts itself from the situation, then unfortunately there's mate there, so black would have to give up the queen. So king f2, just merely sidestepping queen e7. leaves black in a little bit of precarious position because queen e7 is the type of move uh, that you make, if less as if you have a serious threat here, because now you've kind of embarrassed the queen, and the queen is now just in front of the king, and you're gonna have to move that queen not only to keep from losing the queen, but to finish your development. So this is kind of where uh, black kind of gets in a little bit of hot water and starts falling behind in development, right, with the position being wide open. And if you look at black's king, it's on f2, but it's not. You can't really attack it if you're black. All right, so we can say the king is pretty safe. Bishop g4. Spassky continues with this plan, h5, and then he's gonna take this pawn. So knight h4, right, relying, of course, on the pin of this knight to the queen. So bishop takes f4, and now knight c6. Again, the knight is off limits. And so Seirawan says, hey, my queen is blocking the bishop. I'll castle this way. Spassky anticipates that and plays bishop b5. Of course, this move is on the table also. Castles, rips open the queen side, b takes, and now queen d3. Alright. This protects the knight, but also sets up transfer of the queen over to the queen side. Now that the queen is moved out of the pin here, this knight is now free to capture here. So this is why Seirawan plays knight takes f3, g takes f3. Now the bishop is forced to lose a tempo. Bishop f5. This is not a big deal because the pawn on f3 is keeping this knight secure. So there's no need for the queen to stay there. Queen a6, king b8, knight c5, threatening mate. And it's amazing how fast these attacks come. Bishop c8, queen takes c6, and rook takes d4 from Seirawan, who's an admitted pawn grabber. But it's hard to find good moves at this point. So rook takes d4, rook ae1, and at this point, Seirawan decides to just part with the queen. After all, say if you try to keep the queen, then you have a problem here after rook e8, because then there's really no place to run or hide. If you go here, then it's just simply bishop takes c7 is mate. So Seirawan gives up his queen, and after a little bit of torture or time saving by Spassky, by repeating moves, he takes the queen. It's just double checking, making sure he has enough to win. And the rest of the game is kind of just like a cleanup job here for Spassky. And Spassky went on to win the game in short order with his extra material. And Seirawan resigned after king g3. So in decent game by Spassky, bad game by Seirawan. What can we take from that game? Not that knight e7 here is a bad line. I mean, it is kind of a sideline. But what happened is Seirawan kind of took too much time in conducting his development, and then he wound up having to castle queen side. This move, queen e7, was just not a good move. It looks good because you're attacking the piece right away, but just the fact that he had to neglect his development. Of course, in hindsight, if you want to attack the piece, you could play a move like bishop f5 here. Even knight c6. Okay, and then on h5, just come back. So, for example, bishop f5, natural move, getting the piece out, queen e2. Um, you can even play a move like this: Bishop B5 check, and let's say Knight C3, right? Touche, and then move the knight back. So at least you have your pieces out. Okay, you give back the pawn, then you castle over there, and at least you have a decent, decent game. Both sides have chances in this particular position. White could even go for the king side castle, and even though bishop takes c3 is on deck. But this is definitely better for black's development. Instead, after going after this dubious threat right here, Spassky just stepped aside. King f2, and this king f2 is almost equivalent to castling because again the king is perfectly safe and it allows him to progress with the development of his pieces. And then he just went, um, on capturing the piece, and Seirawan, due to the positioning of his queen, was kind of forced to castle queenside. I doubted he wanted to do that. And I like this move, real simple. Chess right here. Um, and it's just amazing how quick his king, Seirawan's king, came under attack here. Real easy, simple game by Spassky. Not bad for old man, right? Then he went on to win, of course. So that is it for today's game. Again, that was round 9 of the 1985 Candidates Tournament. I think it was in France for some reason. I don't remember. I have to look that up. But it might have been like quarterfinals or something like that. But again, Boris Spassky with the white pieces defeats Yassar Seirawan. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Please feel free to donate. That would be greatly appreciated. And also check the links for DVDs/books on the opening that was discussed today. And here we talked about the King's Gambit. So I'll see you guys on the next video.